What's going on, YouTube? I found cars this past few weeks, and we're going to take a look at some of those. And I got premium diecast 1/64th scale coming very soon, so we're going to review those. But let's get to the basics. We got Hot Wheels premium car culture, cars that I've been getting caught up on some series, and the Boulevard cars. Very nice selection. So let's take a look. Very excited to add these to the collection. So what shall we start with? Well, let's start with an older casting, and this has actually been around for a minute. I was looking and adding to the database of the castings that I have in the collection, and doing research on this. I think I have an earlier release talking about the '69 Chevelle SS 396 car. This casting copyright 07. It was an 08 release per the Hot Wheels site, and sounds about right. I got a red one of these main lines in the collection, and I didn't look at this closely, so I was like, well, maybe it's a new release or new casting, but it's old. Once I got it out of the package, I realized it was based on the older one. But this is still when Hot Wheels, I think, in my opinion, was starting to become more accurate with their vehicles. As soon as they got out of the earlier 2000s, I think they started to pay attention more to the proportions of the casting, even if they had to constrict the size to fit in the blister. This is really good. They got the gray wheels, and they have this Yanko-esque striping on it. Looks like has a little bit of a call out there. Let's take a zoom. So this could be like a resto mod car, showing a 454 stripe. It's got the SS badging. Let's see if we can get that crisper. There we go. I love the metallic blue. I'm a sucker for blue muscle cars. So as you can see in these lights, really nice paint. Hot Wheels is doing a very good job. I'm gonna look at this for a second, real close. The white stripe is done good. You know, there has been a bit of speckling when they do their tampo work, but this one is done very cleanly. This is right before the Chevelle turned into the new body, like this one. There's a 70, so you can see the difference. In real life, I kind of prefer the 68, 69 Chevelle. Not only for the front, because of the severe angle that it is, but also the rear window treatment is just so cool, how it's such an angled job, where that one's kind of just squared off. So, and this car, very close in size to the 70, but I think it's a tad smaller, but it's probably the same. Someone in the comments can tell me if they're the same size car. It always felt like this was a little bit smaller, but I could be wrong. Of course, this platform shared with all the General Motors coupes, Buicks, and Oldsmobiles. They would just trade sheet metal and other parts. Really cool car. Really cool car. So I'm very excited to have that. And it looks like a Yanko car, but it's not. It's like a resto mod. They have those kind of stripes there. And that could have been a Chevy stripe too. Option. It's really pretty. Big and littles. You can see the casting date on there. So this is pretty much an unaltered casting, and I bring that up because when we get to the other cars in the series, there's one that's kind of confusing me slightly. Alright, and then the card art, of course, is tremendous. This is probably one of my most favorite card art so far. Let's take this off real quick. I'm on the zoom too much. There we go. So really neat. It's got a very dark, and they have different cars in the background. So there's a Beetle there. So let me look at the other cars. Now I got all of them except the Mustang, because it's just, the Mustang was just too crazy looking. It was too toy-like to me, but the rest of them are very, very accurate feeling. I mean, even though they're not exactly the right 1/64 scale, I was pleased with the selections and also the paint jobs on them. All right, so next vehicle is, I guess, Toyota's return to licensing. And when I was on the Hot Wheels database again, website, I think it's called Collect Hot Wheels. I've been on there for a year or two, putting in all my collection. But and you can see the background. It's got the Nissan truck behind the Toyota. But yeah, I guess 2016, 17 or something like that was the last car Toyota they had, or maybe it was sometime around there. Because I was looking up the Supra casting, and you can see right there it says Toyota Supra. Now, they probably either revised it or had to probably get another copyright to use Toyota again, because when you look on the bottom of this casting, it says 2018. And when you look at this car on Hot Wheels, they have all the castings going back to the 2013s, 2010s, something like that. So maybe they just updated the casting, or the database is grouping them all together just because they share. It just says Toyota Supra, and there's no year or anything. It just says Supra right there. So, but 2016, there you go. So yeah, it is the same. Glad I had a second look at it. Let's see if we can zoom here real quick. Let's let the camera decide what my eyes are seeing. There it is. That's a 16. So yeah, the confusion averted. So it is the older casting, but the license has returned. So hopefully more Toyota vehicles. It's kind of an apt one to do. So this being in 2016 casting, you could see how nice and spot on it is. Just like that recent Subaru BRZ we've taken a look at. And without the wild Fast and Furious graphics. So very nice looking car. Very excited to have it. Let's take a look at the headlights. I think those look very good. I'm glad my crisis of finding out what year this car came from is averted. So there we go. The Toyota badge. Headlights. Probably have to detail that grille. Some of my favorite rear rider tires and wheels. Very nice. There's your back deck. So, cool. Paint's a little thin. You know, this paint probably doesn't lay very evenly without a primer. So, you know, it's almost kind of like it's, if you look at it, it's like bleached through. Ghosting a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of like Spectre Flame or something like that. Cool color. So, 2016 casting, but Toyota's return. Very, very cool car. My first Supra casting, I don't have one, so nice to add that to the collection. All right, so these are confirmed new castings. I did check on these, and there was no confusion on these. I guess my eyes are starting to fail, but this one is a 2018 casting, so it's the Beetle. It's called Classic Bug Volkswagen. And you can see this is kind of like a very full custom car. Bumpers are taken off. They just have the bumperettes. And same treatment with the back. Looks like it's got a pipe on it. You can see there's their transaxle right there. So that's the bottom. I love this casting is really cool. It's a little rough actually, and we'll look at that, but the stance on this is great. You can see how they have the big and little 4 spokes, non-chromed, so it's kind of like a base steel wheel look. Rolls amazingly, but you can see a little bit of some casting right there. This would be a great car to get another one of, I think, and strip it so I could file all that down. Running board's part of the chassis, so metal, I like that. And then the white gold two-tone. Let's take a zoom here, see how this does. Let's take a little look. So you can see there's a lot of casting issues, but it's funny for a new one. The headlights are done very cool. It's got a great license plate. Windshield wipers are molded in. Let's see here real quick. Door handles, very nice. Love those tires. It says bugging, like that. Taillights. And they do this piece here, and I haven't taken one of these apart yet, but basically a lot of the custom bug guys will kind of cantilever or kind of have this sort of cocked open. I've seen it where it's kind of lifted off the back like this, or it's angled, so this top here where I'm touching is up more than the back, and that's kind of, you know, for more air flow basically. And also it looks kind of trick and custom. Of course, this is an earlier bug. It's got a split window in the back too, so one of the earlier ones. But yeah, they would do that and it would kind of look like it was open, but more airflow. And also it's kind of like a custom feature for air-cooled cars, so it helped kind of be stylish and also practical. But you know, you could also put, you know, heavier oil coolers on them, and you can do all sorts of things to those engines. They're really cool engines. They're almost like an airplane engine, the way they come apart and everything. Totally air-cooled. Really cool car. Very happy to have it. I like the colors. They're very subdued. You can see there's a little bit of a casting there too across the whole front area. So, but it would look awesome, like with different wheels and tires or different paint job. Might have to get another one of these. It's not cut up like the Baja Bug or the race version or the other one where there's no front fenders on it. I forget what casting that is, but I think y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, so we're going to get to one cool ride, and before we do, there's the card. So, cool looking thing. Let me zoom this a little bit better, focus it. I think it looks great. And you can see in this one, behind the bug is the Supra. So clever, very, very clever. And of course they made it look like the old Boulevard Cruiser series that they had originally, that kind of kicked off the heavy duty car culture that I've been collecting today. Haven't really got into them until recently, so a lot of holes. There's a few ones that I've noticed when I backtrack about what's been released that I'm missing. So there's always cars to get all the time. All right, let's look at this casting. This is a really cool casting. I got actually a few of these. I got one carded. Get them while they're around, you know, because they are hot. All right, so Nissan Hardbody. It's a 1993 Nissan. This thing lays frame. I mean, complete mini truck. Very 90s. It's really sweet. Everything's painted one color. When I was growing up, I would look at these magazines. I always remember getting the magazines because we used to have in the family a 93 Toyota. So this direct competitor was the Toyota pickup truck. Two-wheel drive truck, manual steering car, stick shift, no air conditioning, no radio. So they still would sell them that way back then. And from the factory, it didn't have a rear bumper either. So very stripped out truck, but it was awesome to drive. It had the fuel injected 22 RE, I believe it was, Toyota engine. So that was a really fun truck to drive and learn. Go all over in that vehicle. So When this Nissan came out, this was awesome. I remember, you know, looking at the Nissan 2 back in the day because we had that truck, and I knew a lot about these too. And I remember getting all the magazines, Mini Truckin' magazine, and seeing the paint jobs. So like this is just bringing back a bunch of memories. And of course, this is based on the mini truck that Hot Wheels did in the 90s and 80s that had all the speakers in the bed. And that was kind of like on an S10, not a Nissan, but same graphics, same colors. So this is just really cool. Yeah, I love the rims. They're chrome. Completely flat on the bottom here. Of course, all metal. And D21 custom pickup truck. It'd be fun to take a jeweler saw and cut the bed out and make it spin and all that. They got the airbag suspension back there with the 2 air tanks. Really cool. A clear window, but a purple interior. So I thought that was great. Let's see if we can get up high on it in the light. Full window. So it's kind of, it looks black, sort of, on the screen, but that is dark purple interior. So that was something I noticed when I took it out of the package. So just a lot of detail to this thing. Really, really cool truck. I got a few extras because the casting is just so well done. And we'll take a zoom. You can see how the grille has a lot of relief to it. All the marks where the signal lenses are and everything. You strip the paint off this thing. Use bare metal foil, chrome. I mean, this thing would look bone stock once it was painted in regular colors. And some of the casting marks were cleaned up. I mean, this is a great casting. Hopefully they make another chassis for it, kind of like what they did with the Silverado casting that they have. And they'll be able to do either a stock or a lifted truck based off this casting. So really, really excited. And of course, they had a Nissan truck in the old days in the 90s too. That was a 4x4. So it's just awesome that they brought it back. Very excited to have this thing. It lays frame. I mean, basically when I'm rolling it and I just kind of roll it, it's basically dragging almost on these letters. So it's complete. I mean, you can see how little tire is left. So they did quite a custom job. I mean, this is kind of what all the customizers are doing now to a lot of the castings, and you can get one right from Hot Wheels now. So just cool. Very, very excited to have this. And a couple more cars, I think, or just one more. One more Hot Wheels. I did break down and get this car. I thought it was cool. It's a very historical car for me. I like off-road desert racing, and this car in the 60s and 70s, or in that time frame, late 60s, early 70s, they had a Cutlass like this. James Garner, the actor, drove one of these as well, kind of like this. It wasn't this color, but really, really neat. You know, cut fenders, kind of like tube. It was very wild. I mean, it looked like a Cutlass, but it was very, very customized. I mean, it had a full off-road suspension, big tires, the whole 9 yards. I believe they use Oldsmobile power, but you guys can write below. I didn't get on and refresh my memory. I did learn about the Desert 442, but I just forgot about what was powering and stuff. So feel free to fill it in on the bottom. But look at this casting. It's great. It's got the old school type Real Rider tires on it and wheels, even though this is an updated version. I mean, it looks like the old days. So that's great. And the Tampa work is excellent with the, you know, licensed contingency stickers and all that. So really cool. Kind of looked a little funny with the card and everything, but I took it out. I said, you know, that's a cool casting. I believe it's new. Let me look here real quick. Pretty sure. I didn't have copyright on this thing. No, 12, yeah, so it's a little older. I just guess I never got the first one. But it's just so sweet, so glad to have it. It's kind of like the Dodge Power Wagon that came out, and I kind of missed the first run, so I had to get this thing, and it's amazing. So yeah, Hot Wheels, Hot Wheels, Hot Wheels, Hot Wheels. No Matchbox this time. But the mailman should be nice to me very soon. I have Auto World and Greenlight, so I'll probably do a video on each, so they're not so long. But hope you enjoyed it. One of the best sets I've had, I mean, recently from Hot Wheels, I think. I really enjoyed this one. I was excited to find them, and yeah, so they're gonna have a nice spot in the collection until Mattel makes some more. So thank you for watching, subscribing, all your wonderful comments. I appreciate it. More to come. Till next time.